So while we're waiting, I will quickly run through the health and safety. So when it comes to taking pictures of our animals, you are welcome to take as many pictures and videos as you would like, just as long as the flash is turned off on any and all photographic devices, as our animals are quite sensitive to light. And then the second one is, if you want to come and see the animals a little bit closer, you can go up these 2 steps here, as demonstrated by my assistant. You just can't go on these 2, on this ledge here, you can't sit or stand on it, as it could potentially cause an injury. So do you think you can do that for me, guys? Do you swear? I don't believe you. I need one of the grown-ups in here to go, and I swear. No all for one fans? Okay. So it shouldn't be long now, guys, so we're just waiting for it. You will see it once it starts. Turtles will be straight over to it, especially Phoenix, as she is the one who loves food the most. So today is our scatter feed, so for anyone stood up, it'll be happening sort of over to this right-hand corner here, so you are welcome to go up, take a look, and get a little bit closer if you can't see very well, but our animals will be going over every so often. So if anyone stood in the corridor here, you are welcome to go to the front here, or on the steps there, anywhere position that makes it easier for you to see. Don't by any means have to stand there. If there's no room left in this place as well, you can also view it from the tunnel. You'll be able to get a bit of a better look from the tunnel as you ride under the action. Good. There's Lance. And there we go, guys, we have begun. So, as you'll see in the right corner, just behind me there, you will see this big white rectangle has dropped down. And that tells our turtles that it is time to eat. We feed our turtles first before any of the other animals, and you might be wondering why that is. Is it because they have a specialised diet? Is it their species? Nope, it is because if we didn't, Phoenix has a little bit of a habit of going up to the sharks and taking food out of their mouths. So we make sure to feed her first, just to curb any cheeky behaviour she might have. So our turtles get fed 3 times a day, which is more than any of the other animals in this tank. This is their second meal of the day. They will have been fed at 10:30 this morning. Now, in terms of diet, the sea turtles are fairly interesting. They eat mostly vegetables. They have things like lettuce, cucumber, broccoli and cabbage. Although, funnily enough, Phoenix does not like celery. The last time we gave her celery, she spat it out and splashed it with water, so that was a pretty clear indication that she wasn't a fan. Her favourite food to eat, though, is cucumber. She absolutely can't get enough of it. She loves it so much on her birthday, we do in fact give her a cucumber cake. So if you want to pop back on July the 4th and wish her a happy birthday, I'm sure she would love that. But you are right in thinking as well that at Christmas time, we do give them some Brussels sprouts. So the reason they eat a lot of green vegetables is it actually is the reason that they are green. So all of the green vegetables they eat dyes the fat underneath their skin green, which is the reason for their lovely green colour. It's also packed full of nutrients that a growing turtle needs. So the actual colour changing part is a phenomenon that can happen with humans as well. If you eat too much of something like sweet potato, it can actually turn you orange. So if you'd like to save some money on your tanning bills this summer, just eat a ton of sweet potato. Now, with the turtles, they are actually fairly young. So while turtles can live up to about 200 years, and the oldest turtle lived up to about 152 in captivity, the turtles we have here are only 25 years old. So we have 2 of them, they're called Noah and Phoenix. Phoenix is the one with the shorter tail, whereas Noah is the one with the bigger tail. Phoenix we've had for around 6 years, whereas Noah we've only had him for around 4 months. And that's because Noah comes from Great Yarmouth Sea Life. Has anyone been to Great Yarmouth Sea Life before? Well, if you do, they're missing a turtle. So Noah is quite funny because while he's only been here for a short while, he is used to the feeding status. He does sometimes get a little bit confused, and when we have a litter picker, which we use to pick up the lettuce or any kind of vegetables and lower it down for the turtles. Today's what's called a target feed. When we lower that down into the water, Phoenix will go and gobble hers up in a second, but sometimes Noah might swim away from it or not quite get it in time, and the minute that Noah misses his food, Phoenix is like, oh, hello. And we often have to lift it out of the water and say, no, Phoenix, not for you. And then she'll go off, and then Noah will finally get a bit of food. So today as well, while the turtles are young, they have to have a little bit of protein. So our turtles have a little bit of fish and a bit of squid just while they're growing. So once they reach full maturity at the age of 35, they'll no longer need protein. But right now, they do have it a little bit because they're going to get a lot heavier by the time they fully grow. Phoenix is around 18 stone now, and we think when she's fully grown, she could be anywhere between 24 and 28 stone. So we need to make sure we give her a lot of food to help her get to that weight. Now, once our turtles have finished scranning down on their food, we do move over to the sharks. So we've got 15 sharks in here. We have 10 black-tip reef sharks, 2 white-tip reef sharks, 2 nurse sharks, and 1 zebra shark. So the sharks we have here are fairly interesting. The nurse sharks and the white-tip reef sharks are both nocturnal, so they're asleep during the day and they're awake at night. The zebra shark acts similarly to we do, being awake in the day and asleep at night, and the black tips are a bit of a wild card. So, with the 2 nurse sharks, Dave and Flo, if you went through the tunnel today, you may have seen them. Easy way to tell the difference is Flo is a lot bigger, but they have different eyes. So with Flo, her eyes are a little bit like she's angry at something or she suspects something, whereas Dave's are a little bit like he's realised he's left his wallet at home, so a bit like this. So if you go through the tunnel and you see a shark staring at you like that, that's Dave. So they're asleep during the day. This is one of the few times you will actually see them awake and moving. So right now in that top corner, I can see Flo over there having a little bit of food. So the white tips will slowly join in as well. We have 2 of those. They're called Willy and Wonka. Here's one swimming over right now. But the black tips are where it gets interesting. So the black tips are a very special kind of shark. They are what's known as an obligate ram ventilator, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it essentially means that they don't have the necessary gills in order to breathe underwater without moving. So what they have to do is, in order to live, they have to keep swimming around all the time. And they keep on doing that constantly. If they were to stop swimming, they would actually drown because the water wouldn't be able to escape their body by the force of them moving. So you might be wondering to yourself, if they have to keep swimming around constantly, and I mean they are swimming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year for 30 years straight, you can imagine that must get a little bit tiring. So you're wondering, when do they sleep? Well, they have adapted a very special ability, and it's an ability that every man in this room also shares, because black-tip reef sharks are half asleep at all times. So essentially what they've done is they split their brain in half. So one half of their brain's asleep while the other side swims around and allows them to breathe. And after a while, they will swap over. So the other side sleeps while the other side swims around. And they just keep doing that throughout their entire life, except right now. So when the black-tip reef sharks need to eat, they will wake up and they get a lot quicker than they usually are. Anyone who was looking at the black tips before feeding happened, you'll know they move around fairly slowly, but right now they are absolutely rapid because this is the only time they will be awake. Once they eat their food, they go right back to sleep again, which honestly, living the dream. But as well, that's just the way they have to adapt in order to be able to breathe. So with the sharks, I have a question that I get every single day. I've worked here for over 3 years, and every single day I have been given this question. And that question is, why don't the sharks eat the fish in the tank? So, this is a bit of a complex answer. So, I'm sure all of us today will have had some experience with sharks, whether that be through movies, books, anything like that. And sharks in general, in popular media, are seen as very, very scary. They're seen portrayed as being very aggressive, very dangerous, but I have a word I would use to describe a shark, which may surprise you. And that word is lazy. So sharks are actually incredibly lazy animals. So in the wild, typically, before they actually go out and hunt something, they will usually go after whatever is sick, dead, or dying. And that is because that's the easiest food for them to get. It's not going to put up a fight, it's going to be something they can just swim over, eat, and off they go. So when they run out of that food, that's when things get a bit harder for a shark, and that's when they'll go and hunt something and really put in the effort to get something. So in the tank, the easiest food for them to get is what we feed them. So every day they get guaranteed food. They know they are going to get fed today. So with that, they would rather just wait to get the guaranteed food than have to chase something around that they might not even be able to get. Especially these smaller fish in the tank, some of them can get up to about 30 miles an hour. So these sharks would have no chance of catching them because they're just too quick for them. So in general, they just can't be bothered. You can imagine if you come home from a really long day of work and you get home, sometimes you don't want to take the time it is to cook, so you order yourself a Chinese. That's essentially what sharks do all the time. So that's why they don't go after the ones in here, as it's just not worth it for them and they're happy to get the food they get. Our sharks are only fed once a day because that's the only amount that they need. So we feed them enough so that they only need to get food the following day, so it keeps them from going after the smaller fish. As well, our sharks are pretty used to having the fish in here. We very much have adopted the Nemo logic of fish are friends, not food. So the sharks and the animals don't attack each other or fight. Mainly, they are generally quite playful. So with that, guys, I will finish the feed talk here and let you observe the animals going around their regular day. You will start to see after a while the animals going back into their regular equilibrium. So for example, our nurse sharks, if you stay for a little bit, you might possibly catch Dave and Flo having a little bit of a cuddle, because that's usually what they do after their food. They go back to sleep and have a little cuddle. But the black tips will start getting a lot slower, as will the other sharks, and they'll go into what I lovingly call food coma. So with that, guys, thank you so much for listening. You've been a fantastic audience. You've laughed at my jokes, it makes me feel good. If you wouldn't mind leaving a little review on that tablet over there, let us know how your day has been. If you enjoyed the feed, if you want to say Joseph's feed talk was amazing, he knows so much, he's so funny, you know, something along those lines. But if you're watching the feed today has made yourselves hungry, you are welcome to go through to our cafe next door. We have a variety of food and drink for you guys. It won't, however, be raw fish and vegetables. But other than that, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to come and ask me. I'll do the best I can to answer. We'll probably be moving into the regular talks very, very soon. Have a fantastic day at Sea Life and a great day overall. Good afternoon.